My prosperers, and welcome to day 5 of my free Autumn Abundance 30-day challenge. If you don't know me, I'm Holly Griffiths, the creator and founder of I Breathe Abundance Breathwork, specialist nurse practitioner and trauma-aware breathwork coach. So if you missed yesterday's video, which was day 4 of the challenge, make sure you sign up at my link in bio so you can start from day 1 there and follow along the challenge each day via email, and then you won't miss a day. But if you have done day 4, how did you find it? How did you feel after completing the challenge? I would love to know, so if you're watching live, then let me know. And if you have any questions, you can just pop them in the chat here and I will do my best to answer them. You can always DM me as well. I really love to hear all your experiences. So yesterday's challenge, we talked about noticing the negative thoughts and emotions that we have every day. Hopefully you wrote those down and started to think about how you can start to reframe some of those thoughts. In today's challenge, I said I was going to show you how positive thinking creates a more abundant mindset and attracts more abundance into your life. And if you're thinking, I've already tried it, it doesn't work, nothing changes, then today's challenge is really going to help you. So first I want to talk about the 12 universal laws, and this can actually be quite deep and quite spiritual, but I'm going to do my best to keep it quick and simple. If you want to find out more about it, you can just Google the 12 universal laws, which are basically these ancient laws that determine our reality. A lot of them you're probably already familiar with, like the law of attraction and the law of cause and effect, which is everything that you do has an effect in the world. But I wanted to talk about the law of vibration, and this is where positive and negative thinking comes into it. So the law of vibration has actually been proven with science, and it's even taught in school. So this isn't just something that I'm making up. We know that everything in the world is made of energy. You break down any physical object, for example, the phone that you're holding right now, and you'll find that it's actually made up of these tiny vibrating atoms, which is what creates energy. And research has proven this. It's basic quantum physics. So we know that everything, including ourselves, is made up of energy created by vibrating atoms at a certain frequency. And this includes not just our physical bodies, but all of our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, words, actions, beliefs, etc. They all have their own energy vibrating at a certain frequency that is being generated and emitted out into the world. There was a guy called, well, I say there was a guy, he's still alive, Dr. David Hawkins, and he conducted a study that demonstrated the existence of an energy field generated by different emotions. So each emotion has its own frequency, and that's why we call emotions like fear, grief, shame and scarcity as negative emotions. Not just because we don't want to feel those type of emotions, but because they actually vibrate at a negative frequency. And if you want to know more about this, you can just Google the map of consciousness or human emotion frequency scale. I've actually got a copy right here. I know, sorry, it might be a bit difficult to see, but it's basically these positive thoughts and emotions, they have a high frequency up here, and the negative emotions have a much lower frequency down here. So when you're constantly living in this low energy field down here, and that's a frequency that you are putting out into the world, then that is what you will keep getting back in return. If you want more abundance, which is a much higher frequency, then that's the frequency that you want to start emitting out into the world. But you can see it's a big jump to go from down here right up to here, and that's why forced positive thinking doesn't work, because you haven't addressed the emotions, which is still at a low frequency. And the other thing as well is that you're trying to leap from the bottom down here right to the top. Can you see how difficult that is? So what can you do instead? How can you change your frequency that you're putting out? How can you change your energy? The good news is that you've already started with the first few steps. So by doing this challenge and taking daily consistent action to increase your abundance gradually means any changes you make will stick. And by doing yesterday's challenge and just bringing those negative thoughts and emotions into your awareness is a huge first step to changing them. So for today's challenge, I want you to look at this human emotion frequency scale and find the frequency for those thoughts and emotions that you wrote down yesterday. For example, I know for me, when I did this challenge, a lot of the thoughts and emotions I had was fear, which is down towards here. And that is at the 100 hertz on the frequency scale. So how can I swap that low frequency for a higher one? I want you to start looking at this as a ladder. Instead of trying to jump from the bottom rungs right to the top, you're going to start climbing them bit by bit. And you want to reach this middle section here first before you can get to the higher frequencies of abundance. So how can I start to think and feel more courage, more trust, more hope, which are all in the middle here of the ladder? I was thinking, like, for an example, I keep having these emotions of fear and scarcity thoughts, things like everything's always going wrong, bad things always happen to me. I can't suddenly switch from nothing bad ever happens to me, right? So I need to start reframing those thoughts like, well, bad things can happen, but I get through it. Bad things happen, but things can always get better. So you can see how I can start to move up this ladder to a more hopeful frequency, and that is how the frequency and energy can change. You know, in the beginning, it is work and always trying to be mindful and aware of those negative thoughts and emotions. But over time, you keep moving up the ladder and it just becomes a more natural habit. And eventually your default frequency will be that of abundance and joy. So start looking at those frequencies from the thoughts and emotions that you wrote down and start to reframe them today to a much higher frequency on that scale. Also, let me know what frequencies you found were really common for you, either by commenting on this video or sending me a DM. I really love hearing from you and supporting you in this challenge, so don't be afraid to reach out, no pun intended. I know today's challenge was quite a deep exercise, so tomorrow it's going to be a more practical and simple challenge. Also, tomorrow's video will be pre-recorded and released around the same time, but not live because it's coming up to my husband's 50th birthday and we're having a massive party. So I think actually the next 3 videos will be pre-recorded, still released around the same time each day, but after that I'll try to go back to live videos because that is also my challenge, which you know about if you've been here from day one, is for me to keep showing up and keep getting better at doing lives. So make sure you're signed up to the challenge so you don't miss a day and you get the videos emailed to you. You're not too late to join because whenever you sign up, the videos will just start from day one, and also today's email will include the link for that human emotion frequency scale, so you will get that as well. Okay, if you have any questions, you can always comment on this video and I will answer them as soon as I can. And I will see you tomorrow now for day 6.